Hello and welcome to Modern Monday, where I take a look at a movie from the 2000s and give it a review. And today, we're talking about the 2005 film Fantastic Four, starring Ewan Gruffudd, Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Michael Chiklis, and Gillian McMahon. Okay, so little history with me is I grew up on the Fantastic Four animated series. Not only the 60s version, but also the 90s version. Mostly the 90s version that aired on, like, Fox Kids and stuff like that. That one. Much like with the Incredible Hulk and Iron Man and Avengers before that, around that time. And there's not enough attention given to Avengers United We Stand. It is a good show. People crap on it, but it is a good show. Doesn't have the principal Avengers like Iron Man, Thor, or the Incredible Hulk, or even Captain America, but it's still the Avengers to me. It's still pretty good. But anyway, Fantastic Four. So, I grew up with the cartoon, and I've always loved the Fantastic Four. So when this was announced, I was absolutely ready for it. I think the casting is great. My biggest complaint with the cast was that Chris Evans is not blonde. They do something with Jessica Alba's hair where she has sort of a blondness to it, but they don't do anything with the Human Torch until the second film when they put a little bit of blonde in his hair. And of course now Chris Evans is Captain America and he does the blonde more, or did the blonde more in his character in those films. But this was kind of, going in. As far as the characterizations, I think it works. Reed, he's a scientist. He's, Mr. Fantastic. He's, always working on something. And in this film, after the experiment goes wrong, you know the story, right? They go into space. There's an experiment that goes wrong, and they get magical powers. With Reed, he is constantly working at something, and they get it right in this film and in the next film. As much as you can go down on the sequel, and it does go down in quality a little bit, and we'll get to that when I review that one, but for me, Reed constantly working on something in his lab is Reed. Now, there's not a whole lot of superhero fighting, and to be honest, in a 2000s superhero movie, there wasn't much of that. This is an origin story. And while I'm not a big fan of the origin stories, this does kind of hinder itself to more origin than fighting bad guys. We get that scene on the bridge, which is a very good scene, I think, where the thing comes out and everything. And we'll get to him in a minute. But it's a great opening scene. And yeah, Sue. I think Jessica Alba does great in the role of Sue Storm. And yes, they're not married yet, but I think she does a great job. I like the whole gag with she keeps trying to, she doesn't have a lock on her ability, so it makes sense that being invisible and trying to take her clothes off, to be all the way invisible, that it would fade back in and again because she can't control them yet. And I think that Jessica Alba is a great actress for the role. I think she does a great job. What else can I say? There's not much to say about her. She doesn't really do much. Female superheroes back then weren't always pushed to the forefront like they are now. Johnny Storm. Chris Evans is perfect for this role. Chris Evans is always one of those actors that can portray cocky, yet strong characters like Johnny Storm. And he is very cocky. He is very much like his comic book counterpart, kind of the youngster of the group, kind of hip. I do not like how they sort of shove him into the plot, though. And what I mean by that is how he's introduced. So, Ben Grimm, the Thing, is a pilot. But they shove Johnny into this. Now, we need a fourth member, so my brother can, I've enlisted my brother to help, or they need a fourth member, and maybe Reed goes to Johnny and said, hey, your sister could use your help. She doesn't know I'm doing this. She'd probably kill me if she knew, but she could use your help and bring him in that way. But no, they say, oh, Victor Von Doom wants him to be the pilot instead of Ben. And then he's just there. But, one of my favorite lines is like, when he's turning on and off the fire, he's like, now picture this, but everywhere. I love that. And like, when he first gets his powers and he flies off and he lands in that snowdrift or whatever, when he's skiing with Maria Menounos of all people, and he lands in there and he's like, can you join me? I love that, because that's Johnny. He's the womanizer. The whole part with, he's got us. I mean, that's the second one or something, but he's like, he's like on the news, and he's like the thing. That's what we call him, And then we're gonna go into Ben Grimm here, and I like Michael Chiklis in the role. I think he does a great job. Like I said, perfect casting all around. But with the story they do with Ben, he's already engaged to a woman, and just because it looks like his big orange hulking thing, and okay, so in all the versions I've watched on TV, animated versions, whatever, he didn't have a fiance beforehand. But he falls in love with a blind woman named Alicia, who's played by Kerry Washington here. And she's great as well. African American, but it works. It works. When the animated series based off of this, she's African American, which is good. It's cool. So here, we're presented with the fact that he's too hideous for his current fiance, or ex-fiance, soon to be, who can see him, and it's too hideous to be with her. But it's okay to be with a blind woman because she can't see what he looks like. And yes, I know she goes about the whole thing about, oh, I don't care what you look like, touching his face and stuff. But still, it's the message you send to people. Oh, you can be ugly and be with a beautiful woman if she's blind and can't see that you're ugly. Bullshit. That's terrible. But other than that, great characterization. Victor Von Doom. First and foremost, I want to say that Julian McMahon is a great actor. He's great in this role. He's great in Charmed. And I love him in this role. But he did not need to be on that space station. He did not need to get his powers from that space station. Victor Von Doom was scarred in the face, which is why he wore the mask. His powers, no one knew where they came from, at least as far as I've seen in TV and stuff. He could be like, for all we know, like he could be some secret. He could be secretive. No one knows what Victor Von Doom looks like. He's funding this thing, okay, and then the experiment happens, and you can lead into he sabotaged the thing for his own experiment, and because he wants more power, right? He wants to figure out how to harness more power, and that could be the whole thing. But you have him on there, and then start to kind of molt his hair, and his face changes, and he's turning metal. I never understood that, to me. And most of the film, his story, is taken up by him just sort of morphing and changing and then just putting on that mask, which he's given, he has on display most of the film. Not a big fan of the characterization of Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom in this one. But the actor gives it his all. He's clearly giving it his all. And so that's what makes it good. So the whole thing with what Reed is doing is he's now trying to find a cure so he can make Ben look normal again. And because Victor Von Doom wants more power, he uses that machine to siphon the energy from it while Ben uses it and becomes human again. Now, it's made abundantly clear that you can't use the machine without extra oomph, extra power, which is why it wouldn't work right unless Victor Von Doom used his extra power to boost it up and made Ben normal. But then we are supposed to believe that Ben could just jump back in the machine and turn back into the thing without any excess power. Don't think it works that way. Because before, when Reed tries to use it without any excess power, he becomes like a blob thing. Right? He starts to melt down a little bit. And so the fact that, or you could say, oh, when Victor did that, it fixed the machine. I don't think it works that way. I think he gave a little bit of extra power, but didn't fix the machine. I think it just helped him siphon the power. So the fact that he just turns back into the thing and it's clobbering time, that doesn't work for me. I do like how they subdue him. When metal gets really, really hot, it's malleable, and then you hit it with something really cold, and it freezes. And they lock him away. And you step back to Latveria. Good. This is the only mention of Latveria, by the way, in this film. Overall, I really enjoy this film. I think it's one of the better, much better than the 2015 version. And I think that this review has been a long time coming because I should have reviewed this a long time ago. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. There's some small problems in there, but it deserves an 8 out of 10. So what is your thoughts on Fantastic Four from 2005? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.